Here in the nation's capital, record-setting snowfall has turned Washington, D.C. into a winter wonderland. But as the games go on outside, the Bucknell Bison, delayed but not deterred, arrive inside at Bender Arena for a Patriot League matchup with the American Eagles. CBS College Sports Network welcomes you inside Bender Arena in Northwest Washington, D.C. for a Patriot League encounter of the Bucknell Bison and the American Eagles. Last night in the Patriot League, Navy defeated Lehigh for the second time this season, ascending to a first-place tie. Meanwhile, surging Holy Cross with a win on the road and Colgate with a narrow victory over contender Lafayette have made the Patriot League as unpredictable as the weather these days. With a look at Navy and Lehigh atop the conference standings and Bucknell and American in a fourth-place tie, which leads us to this evening's matchup, and a critical one at that. Hi, everyone. Great to have you with us. Bob Socci alongside John Feinstein. Great to see that you made it tonight. First matchup between these two teams, tied for fourth place. Bucknell won in overtime. John, this game has huge March implications here in February.
Well, the two games last night really tightened up the league race. In fact, the Patriot League is a lot less predictable than the weather in Washington right now. The weather in Washington is bad, and it's going to stay bad the rest of the winter. The Patriot League is not as predictable. Right now, this game tonight, the winner will be in third place, but only one game out of first place in the conference standings.
Also unpredictable is who will be Bucknell's go-to guy. We start with our difference makers, and Daryl Shazer, the most experienced of Bison.
Well, and that's why he's the difference maker, because this is a young team. They depend heavily on three freshmen, and even though Shazer is the leading scorer on this team at 9.9s per game, a lot of guys score, but he has to be the guy who's going to make tough shots and big plays down the stretch because of his experience.
And no one in the Patriot League has averaged more minutes per game than Shazer. And maybe no one's had a bigger impact on his team than Americans' Vlad Moldavenu.
As soon as he came into the lineup, became eligible after transferring from George Mason, this became a better basketball team. They won it to Paul his first game out. He has been the player of the week a couple of times in this league, and the reason why AU has a chance to defend their title for the third straight year is because of the emergence of Vlad Moldavenu.
A son of Romania tried to lead American U to a three-peat in the Patriot League. It's the Eagles and Bucknell coming up next from Washington on CBS College Sports Network. ESPNU welcomes you inside Crystal Arena in West Point, New York for the 109th basketball encounter of Army and Navy. And hello again, everyone. A very pleasant good afternoon. Great to have you with us. Bob Socci alongside John Feinstein. And John, we know that midshipmen and cadets, despite their contrasting styles of play, are said to be mere reflections. That's exactly what they've been in basketball the last 5 years.
You know, this rivalry has ebbed and flowed through the years. In the 60s and 70s, when Bob Knight and Mike Krzyzewski were here, Army dominated the rivalry. Then when Don DeVoe was the coach at Navy, Navy was in control. Jim Cruz has brought balance back to the rivalry in the last several years. You can see his record just under 500 against Navy, and Billy Lang is at 500 against Army. So it's really become very even in the last few years.
The trademark for Jim Cruz teams, good defense today, trying to stop Kaleo Kina in our Star Watch.
And that certainly won't be easy. Kina averages just under 19 points a game. He's a senior. He's got a lot of experience playing for Navy. If you come up on him on the three, he'll go by you to the basket and create for his teammates. He is a tall order to deal with for the cadets.
And no doubt an Army team struggling on offense means a big game from Cleveland Richard.
Well, Cleveland Richard is one of only two players who Jim Cruz has started in all 17 games this season as he searches for the right unit to take on the Patriot League. But he's been very consistent. He's the only guy they have averaging in double figures, and he will need a big game today for Army to have a chance to pull this upset.
From Washington, D.C., just a short drive from the Capitol building at the home of the Patriot League champions, the American Eagles meet the Army Black Knights in a 2009 Patriot League semifinal. Comcast Sportsnet welcomes you inside Bend Arena in Washington, D.C. for a Patriot League semifinal encounter of the Army Black Knights and the American Eagles. American, the defending champion, a number 1 seed advancing. Army with its highest seed ever in the Patriot League tournament, eking out a close victory over Lehigh to set up this matchup. And hi, everybody. Great to have you with us. Bob Socci alongside John Feinstein. And John, while American tries to repeat history, Army, in a sense, is trying to overcome history.
Or make history, Bob. But if they're going to do that, they're going to have to find a way to control Derek Mercer, the Patriot League Player of the Year, at both ends of the court. He's terrific at getting to the basket. How he does it at 5'9", an alleged 5'9", I might add, I don't know. He starts their offense. He starts their defense. He's an excellent passer. He's a superb defender. It all begins for American with Derek Mercer.
Whatever his height, he sees eye to eye with Garrison Carr. They're always in sync.
And they always seem to be attached on a string to one another. Mercer getting the ball to Carr for three-point shots. Carr can make it inside. He can make it outside. He can shoot off the dribble. And if he and Brian Gilmore get going from the outside, AU's almost impossible to beat.
Meanwhile, Army has won 7 of its last 12, including the last 3, thanks in great part to offensive consistency from Cleveland Richard.
Well, Army always plays great defense, Bob, but they've needed more scoring, and Cleveland Richard has provided that from both the inside and the outside. He can get to the basket. He can shoot the three-point shot. He's very versatile. He's a good ball handler, as you can see here. When he gets the offense going, it opens things up for the other guys.
You said great defense, none better individually than Marcus Nelson.
Well, he's the Patriot League Defensive Player of the Year for a reason, because he leads a great defensive effort every night for Army. But the biggest improvement for the Cadets has been freshman Julian Simmons, who has given them a second offensive option the last month.
Army has never been to the Patriot League final. American try to get there for the 2nd straight year, looking to defend its crown. Tip-off is next on Comcast Sports.